Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the League of Inches podcast. The blue and gold is on. That is meaning one thing and one thing only. Parramatta fans, rejoice. It is time for episode 2 of Our Parra. Really thankful to everyone out there who watched last week, clicked subscribe, all that off the back of it. Had a number of messages, things like that, everyone supporting it. So really thankful. We'll continue to grow with it. Obviously, first episode, continue to do what we do. Speak our minds, speak truthfully, and it seems to be what you're all enjoying the most. So obviously, a few big ones. This is obviously Tuesday afternoon. We are recording this one fresh off the back of a Teamless Tuesday drop, which is a bit exciting for Parramatta fans. I will say that, but one thing for sure, we've got plenty of things to talk about, myself and Jake. We'll be going in, no doubt, with last weekend's performance against the Raiders, that abysmal shithouse performance that it was. And there's a few other things we will discuss. It's a huge, huge episode. We'll talk about the Lachlan Galvin situation as well, and the rumours floating around that Parramatta are in the box seat for him, perhaps. We will give you our thoughts around that as well. But let's just dive straight into it, Jake. So last weekend's performance against the Raiders, it was a loss that 50 points to 12. To be honest, there was times where I thought the Raiders probably could have got to 60, 70 points. Like it was looking scary for a while there. Talk to us. What's your initial thoughts?
I want to say it was a game. I never went into that game with high hopes. We've never succeeded in Darwin. I think we might have won one game over there, but would you call that success over whatever it was, like a 5-year plan? We seem to always go to Darwin and just get sort of pumped. I remember last year, obviously, we versed Dolphins over there, and we actually looked good. We were winning that game, and then second half. It seems to be a second half in Darwin thing too, because even in this game, we were only down by 12, and I understand that, we probably should have been down by more. They did well to sort of hold on in that regard, but then that second half, they just forgot what rugby league was, I think. And not only that, did they forget what it was, they didn't really care to know about it either. You could look at almost every player, and I'll get to who I'm not talking about soon, but you could look at almost every player in that Parramatta pack and pretty much go, they don't want to be on this field right now. They would rather be anywhere else than where they are right now.
Yep, no, very, very fair. I'm just having a quick Google search of our record at TIO Stadium in Darwin. So it looks like we've actually played 15 games all up
15
over there. So, and results-wise, I can see... Actually, it's not 15. We've played 12. I'm going 13 since we went up there. The first time we went there was 2014. So we've won 1, 2, 3. We actually had a good record to start with. 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, right.
6.
Well, the record maybe isn't.
And
maybe the record's not as bad as I thought it was.
It's just more recent times. Recent times we've been absolutely shocking there, but that's nothing to go on about, because, to be honest with you, the Raiders would have impacted that even more harshly than we did, and they did a brilliant job. So that was that's no excuse. I feel like for a Parramatta point of view, though, and the actual display and how we played, I think shithouse is putting it politely. It's a very polite way of actually saying it, because
embarrassing.
They were just, it was embarrassing. It sort of got to the point where the jersey's on at the moment, guys, and I love the club, but I'll tell you what, probably up to Magic Ground, if nothing much changes, that'll probably be the last time you'll see me this year in it, because it does get a bit embarrassing at times. Like that's the performance on the weekend where it just simply wasn't first grade standard. And I put it in a post, I said it on our Sunday review show, but that's also an insult to reserve graders to say that they're that bad, because I don't think a lot of reserve graders are that bad. And that's just saying where I guess some of these personnel that are at this club are where they're at, and probably more so where the club is at the moment as well. And that's probably something that I feel like a lot of Parramatta fans need to start being a bit more realistic about. What are your thoughts, Jake? What do you when we start going a bit more in depth? I guess we talk about the playing group, some of the players on the weekend that let us down. So get into it. What do you think?
Oh,
Actually, first, sorry, before you do that, I'll just say one more thing. I'll touch on something that Hindy said, who's probably arguably one of, if not the greatest eel of all time for what he's done for the club. For him to suggest it looked like to him that there was players that just simply gave up on the weekend should be probably the most hurtful thing you hear as a Parramatta player wearing the jersey, because he is someone who you could never ever say did that, no matter what the scoreline was. And for him to come out and label that to you and say that this team looked like a lot of points during that game they gave up is absolutely atrocious. That is disgusting to hear, and he's 100% spot on. And it's the same people we keep talking about almost on a weekly basis that give up, and they just seem like they don't want to be there. They're kicking stones. They're having a sook. They're just having a good old-fashioned sook on the field. And I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of having these players, and I know you'll go into a bit more detail now, but I'm just over it. And it hurts to hear greats like that come out and label that, because they should be able to sit there and be proud of the club, be proud of what they've done, especially someone like Hindy. That would be hurting him. I know he's a bit of a joker now and things like that, but I know deep down inside it would be hurting him seeing the team and the boys playing this way.
Oh, absolutely, because he's very open with the fact that he absolutely loves the club. Like, he bled for this club. He would have died for this club, and he is that type of person. And to come out and have to be able to, he almost had to be forced to be able to say, like, they look like they didn't care. It would have hurt him for sure, and it should be hurting the players. And I think that's where we're having an issue, is that the players, or some of them out there, I'm not going to say every player, of course, there are players out there who are putting in, the performances that they should be. And then there's the players who are letting them down around them. I'll kick off with the one person who, I know we're not going to talk about the team list yet. That will happen later, but I'm going to say it. God, I'm glad he's finally been dropped. Shaun Lane. It's about 3 weeks too late, to be honest with you. But he's finally been dropped. Mate, I just don't understand it. What are you doing? Like, do you not care about the club? The club that's paid you hundreds of thousands of dollars? I understand you've had injuries. I understand that, you've had these things happen that's wrong to you, but like, figure it out. To be honest with you, it's not only, I can deal with a player going out on that field, giving it everything they've got, making mistakes. Yeah. Having errors and stuff like that. Sure. Fair enough. But for a player to go out and just clearly, just so clear cut, every fan is saying it. Even the commentators started to say it, especially about Shaun. They don't want to be there, and you can tell. That's an issue. Shaun, embarrassing. I'm glad you got dropped, and I hope you don't come back in first grade until you start figuring it out, or just never come back, because I will not lose an ounce of sleep over that happening. Next on my list, and it sucks too because I gave him an absolute rap last week. It sucks, but Junior Paulo. Overcross, hold on, what was his minutes? His minutes were, he played for 38 minutes, which in the heat, and after playing a big game last week, sure, I get, right? For 38 minutes, 4 runs across basically, let's say 40 minutes, across a half, right? Let's say one half of football, 4 runs. What an embarrassment. You were, at the time of that game, you were the captain on that field, and you are the one that says in your interviews, post-match interviews and things like that, got to lead by example. We've all got to be up for the work and stuff like that. Well, where were you? Be up for the work. You got humiliated. The other pack humiliated you. All the boys, all our forward pack just got genuinely humiliated across the board. There was no one. Oh, sorry. There's one person that I should mention, and I'll do it quickly before, so I know that everyone knows I'm not talking about him. Luca Moretti, okay, deserves a starting spot in this side. He's come in for 2 weeks. 1 week he played for 15 minutes. That was 2 weeks ago. He came in for 15 minutes, and he made more runs than most of the forwards we had on the field. And then this week against Raiders, he was on for more minutes. He actually got a fair bit of game time finally. He played for 42 minutes, so the most he's played this season so far. Made 11 runs for 122 meters. Thank you, Luca, for actually showing that you care and want to be on the field. Because you know what? Our captain in Junior Paulo didn't do that. Our most experienced player in Shaun Lane didn't do that. I can maybe give a pass to Kitione Kaltoga, maybe, for actually having some runs and actually giving a crack Okay, I did say if someone has a crack, then I'm fair enough with them. But I don't know. What do you got? What do you got for us?
Let's start with. I'll literally go from the back line and all the way up. I want to say my first target here, and I'm sorry guys, but there's just a couple of just tee-offs that need to happen. The first one is Sean Russell. I don't know what this guy or what Jason Rolls is seeing in him at the moment, but it is clear as day, in my opinion, he is not first grade quality. He's a depth player at best. He's there if we need him for injuries and things like that. But even like he's pushed into center at the moment playing, I have not seen anything yet from Sean Russell this year to suggest he's worthy of this week-to-week start in first grade in a Parramatta jersey. I haven't seen anything. And I'm just over having to sit through as a fan these sorts of players and just be like, yeah, no worries, this is what it is. When I know in like covering that, there's these younger guys and stuff like that who can and should be playing and are not. And these sorts of players are always getting picked, it feels like, no matter what. And the annoying thing, and before I go into it with more players, the big thing for a lot of these players that we will talk about is the fact that it's sort of we're used to it now, unfortunately. We've lived through this where BA had his favourites and picked him no matter what, and early days has sort of felt like the same. Now, there'll be some people out there saying Jason Rolls is trying to find out which player works best for him. Well, I'm sorry, but hasn't Jason Rolls just watched what we've been watching the last couple of years and already know the sort of the things what players can do and their capabilities, and the fact that they can't reach any extra heights that he hasn't already seen them achieve, like your Sean Russells, like your Sean Lanes. The list will go on as I continue on. Dylan Brown back to sort of his. I know he got a try, but back to sort of he's looked a bit disinterested in my opinion, and it's starting to become an issue because we're going to talk about it a bit more with obviously the Lachlan Galvin stuff happening, but at the moment I'm getting to the stage where we can't keep sitting around having these people and accepting it. The fact that these players will have a good game every 5 or 6 weeks. And you know what? That's what it's all about. We'll cheer them and we'll pat them on the back and they'll give each other a clap, sing a team song every 6 weeks and be happy with that effort, where the other 5 weeks they get absolutely slaughtered. It's piss poor. It's embarrassing. The consistency is what we need. And if Dylan doesn't want to be here, just go. If you don't want to be here, which majority of performances so far, apart from last week, showed you don't want to be here, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with this sort of player performance anymore. The prop forwards, Joe Ofahengawi. I don't know what people see in this bloke, but I think he's a complete spud. Like, sorry to say, but I don't think he offers the team much at all. He's always in and around. He shows a bit of pride, a bit of passion, like in his energy and almost fanboying with the team, which is great. We need that sort of energy and stuff like that. We do have that now with Josh Adokar anyway, but I want you to be an actual prop forward. Like, there wasn't too long ago now that you were actually a State of Origin style prop forward, and you're just doing absolutely nothing now. I don't get it. I don't get it. I would love to see him drop, which we'll talk about shortly with the team list stuff, but I'm just talking about my thoughts during this game. You already spoken about it, but Junior, you are the captain of this club. At the moment, you're the only captain of the club because Moses has been out the whole side of the year. If you're telling me the captain's knock is having 3 hit-ups is a captain's knock, you're an absolute disgrace. And that is not a captain's knock whatsoever. It's embarrassing. You're up against class forward pack, and we're completely shown up. Sean Lane, the less I say on Sean Lane, I think at the moment, the better. All I'll say is this, is he does not deserve to be in a blue and gold jersey in first grade ever again. I've absolutely had enough of giving this guy chances and having to sit through and endure performances of his where he literally walks around the field after 5 minutes looking like he is sooking and doesn't want to be there. If you don't want to be there, don't want to be at the club, go. Retire, go to the Super League, do whatever you need to do. Go to another club. Stop putting it through us as fans in a club to sit through these sorts of performances, because it's simply not good enough. It's bullshit, to be honest. My final thing I want to pick at here is the fact that getting away from the players, we have not started a game well all year. We haven't at all. So I don't know what this obsession with this now new obsession with Hopgood moving into the hooker role for Riley Smith to come on after 20, 25 minutes. We have started shockingly once again. And it's because of a lot of that to do with Hopgood's poor service from dummy half. It was extremely poor. He's not a hooker. He is not a hooker. And for mine at the moment, the Eels need to be making sure we start the best that we possibly can. So in my opinion, that's naming the best players possible to be running out on that field, basically getting them to go for as long as they can. And then you start using your bench and stuff like that, which are your bench sort of players. I would absolutely scrap this whole shit that's happening. Riley Smith needs to start from the first minute, run out on the field, and away he goes. He's apparently the fittest at the club. If you're telling me he's the fittest at the club and he can't get through 80 minutes, I don't believe you for a second. You're trying to overcoach, overthink the room here, Jason, and I don't think you need to be doing it. Just simplify it, put Hopgood back to his natural lock position, and then away you go. Simple as that.
Oh, 100%. In terms of the Hopgood thing, I think after the first week, I kind of sat there and went, maybe there's some merit to it. It shores us up in in defense a little bit. Maybe just tries to take the sting out of the first game, the first 10 minutes, whatever. Yeah, no, I've fully 180'd on that. It didn't work last week. The first week, it looked like Hopgood actually had some decent service, and it actually looked okay. Last week was abysmal, and it clearly shows where that's at. If I'm Jason Riles, you've got Charlie Guymer's not a second rower in my opinion. I don't think he does well in the second row. I don't think he has the edge running for that. I think what he needs to do is play in the middle, right? So you either put him at prop or you put Hopgood at prop and put the other one of those two in at lock. Easy switch there, right? Super simple. You have your best hooker in Riley Smith, play at hooker. We've seen he can do like 60 minutes at least, pretty much unencumbered. He seemed to be able to play that 60-minute role, 65-minute role the other week completely fine. And by the end of the game, we were all talking about how he was still putting in those effort plays to get in there and to be able to knock the ball down for the Dragons and all the stuff he was doing. Well, he was doing that on 65 minutes. So what's the difference of 15? If he was tired, he wouldn't have been able to do those things he was doing. So the fitness excuse can't be what it is unless it's a development thing. But even if it's a development thing, 65 minutes, 80 minutes, who cares? Just put him on there. And if he can't handle it, he'll tell you. Yeah? In terms of what you were saying about Sean Russell, I fully agree. I think that I don't think he's got much more in him. I think what he has shown us is what he's got. I think as a player that's there for depth to help out, yeah, sure. That's what he's got for us. And you know what? It's nice to have a depth player that can come up and do a job when needed. And yeah, he played good against the Dragons. You know what? You know who else has been playing good? And I understand he's not a center, right? But surely he could fit into a role either on the wing or do something along those lines. If we have this young gun in Josh Papali playing great guns down in grade, he's been moved around there a little bit. He's playing fullback. He's playing 5'8". He's getting shifted around into different positions. Get him on the field. See how he goes. Give him a run. You know what? If it works, you keep him there. If it doesn't work, right, well, fair enough. You tried something. It didn't come off. I'm okay with Jason Riles trying different combinations of players, okay, and maybe giving that an extra week. But if we're just going to sit here and sit through the same crap, we're about to get into the team list. I know that, so we'll talk about that there. He has made some changes that I'm actually quite happy with, but I would, before we get into that, I'm happy to keep going where we're at. But I think some changes that I'd like to see would be this. Like I just said, I want to see Hopgood either play. Oh, you go.
Just before you do that, I just want when you mention the changes and you're happy with roles, experimenting and stuff, I agree to a certain extent. What I don't want him to fall into the trap of, and I think he already has, is doing that for the sake of doing it. For example, I'll give you Sam Tuivasa, who, for my opinion, has actually been one of our better forwards so far this year, and all of a sudden he was dropped and played New South Wales Cup on the weekend. Like, what message does that send to a young guy coming through the grades who got his opportunity, did a really good job, in my opinion, in what limited time he has had so far, and then his reward for that is being dropped, while someone like Charlie Guymer hasn't done anything all year and kept his spot. Sean Lane done nothing all year, kept his spot. Like that, for mine, doesn't sit well with me. That's not something where you experiment or you swap around. Sam should have been one of the first players named on the bench for that game and can continue his form. I just think that was a pretty poor move coaching-wise, and I hope, as I said, he's not falling into that trap of giving people an opportunity just for the sake of it.
Yeah. Oh, no, I fully agree with that. When I say I want changes to be made, I want smart changes. I want changes to be made that actually make sense, that, that suit. I'm willing to see experimentation fail for him to find out what works for him. But at the same time, it's something at some point has to be obvious about some of the players who aren't performing. And I understand he only has so many players to work with, right? I think he tried Ryan Madison on the weekend because I think he thought, because actually he's someone I haven't even gotten to yet, Ryan Madison, and I'll talk about him in a second. But I think he thought Ryan Madison would be able to handle the heat for longer. And I actually think that's a pretty reasonable thing to think about, considering Tuivasa seemed to just, like, when he's been playing and when he starts to play those longer stints and longer minutes, he does seem to kind of, get a little bit more sloppy, make those errors. And that's fair enough, right? So he's coming up and he's got to get used to the physicality of it and be able to play those bigger minutes. It'll take some time. I'm okay. I understand what you're saying in that specific one about Tuivasa. I'm okay with it on the weekend. I'm glad he's back in this week's TLT, and we'll talk about that soon. Ryan Madison, I completely forgot about you. You have been from what all accounts, you wanted to get back in the side development. You're playing reserve grade, and you're an ex-Origin player. That's got to hurt. If that doesn't hurt you, you shouldn't be playing rugby league. You are in reserve grade. You're still, age appropriate to be playing in first grade. You're an ex-Origin player, and you get given 33 minutes. And what do you do with it? 2 runs, 25 meters. That's embarrassing. You want to talk about embarrassing? That's poor. That's so poor. Unbelievably poor. You have Bailey Simonson, right? Who's someone I haven't talked about. Coming off an ACL injury, running, where is it? 19 times. I know he was on the whole game, but he ran 19 times for 197 meters. Mwah, right? I love seeing Bailey come back. And you know what? I'm so glad he is back. Because obviously we lost Lomax. But as soon as Lomax is back and all of our backline is good and ready to go, please keep Bailey Simonson in that left center spot. Move Penasini across to the right. Put Lomax there. Ryan Madison, you want to get into this team, or I hope you do. You should want to get into this first grade side and to crack it. Do better. I don't even care if you make mistakes. Like I said, just put in any amount of effort, any amount, because there was 0 on that weekend. He didn't even exist on the field when he came on for 33 minutes. 33 minutes, we were down 12-13. That's it.
I'm gonna disagree with you on this one. I actually feel a bit for Matto in this instance because he came on, and you go look at the timestamps of things and things like that. The Raiders were on a complete roll. Like, there wasn't much he could do and a forward could do coming on at that time of the game and into it. For most of the time he was on, we're probably defending and running back to our goal line to stand behind the post and have a chat about what they're probably going to do on the weekend. Like, I don't know how much he could have done. He should have been starting ahead of Lane, in my opinion, and give him a go. Just let him warm into a game. It's his first game of the year. Instead, he was chucked on with 35 or 33 minutes to go, going off his stats, and basically told to go and see what you can do your best after we're already down almost 50 blot. Like, it was just I understand it wasn't his greatest game and things like that, but I'm also sort of at the point going, I don't know what else he could have done. Like, he was left really late. So, but we didn't have the ball for a lot of it. How can you take a hit up if you don't have the ball?
Well, you say we didn't have the ball for a lot of it. 33 minutes, we didn't have the ball for 4, 5, 6 sets. He couldn't have taken a hit up in any of them. Like, we have to at least have had the ball.
You got to think about 33 minutes. We're behind by 40 odd points. They're probably doing a lot of passing the ball from side to side, trying to make breaks, things like that. You're not going to play the boring 1-out hit ups and stack up some hit ups there. So I don't think he played a good game at all. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he was anywhere near his best. And but all I'm saying is I feel for him in terms of he didn't have time to get into that game and build into it or things like that. We're judging him off coming on where everyone would have already been deflated as shit. Like, everyone would have been going, just get me out of here. And he's come on and he was almost put into a corner and said, get out of here when you've got 20 blokes around you. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, I just kind of feel for him.
I'm willing to say that I still believe he should start over Sean Lane because I'm willing to give people a second chance, right? And that's it, a second chance for him, because I really thought that was a bit that's abysmal. I don't agree with you in the sense that it was okay. I think it was terrible. I'm willing to give him the second chance because, like you said, there was mitigating circumstances, I suppose you could say. But what I'd like to see is get him in to start, not at prop. I don't know why we use him as a middle, right? He's got silky ball playing skills. He used to play 5'8". He's a second rower. He's a perfect second rower because he does have the ability to run, okay? And he does have the ability to throw a good pass. So I don't know why when he was playing his best football for us, he was in the second row. And I don't think that he's past that. I think he needs to go in there. And yeah, the fact that Sean Lane's gone. I just want to throw a quick one to, like I said, Bailey, Luca Moretti. Just good job, guys. You came out and you gave it 100%. Even Isaiah Iongi, I'll say it again, he's Mr. Consistent for us. And we need a Mr. Consistent at the moment. That's something we really desperately need. He's never, I don't think he's one of those players going around kicking rocks. He's putting in 100% every week as well for us. So I'll give 3 people a shout out this week. But then other than that, I don't think anyone deserves much praise.
Yeah, no, I do agree. I think obviously Moretti was good off the bench, had somewhat of an impact, and then Bailey coming back from his ACL injury was great to see. And looks like he got a bit of size on as well. He looks a bit bigger, which is going to be good. It doesn't look like he's lost too much speed either. So hopefully that works well. And once Lomax is back in 4 or 5 weeks, hopefully we can have a full strength back line there, including halves, and who knows what could happen there.
Question
that's
for you.
something that I think, yes.
In that time while we're waiting for Lomax, right? So you just talked about Sean Russell. Would you give Josh Papali a crack in that center spot?
I'd probably give Richard Penasini a crack first.
That's fine by me. I'd be okay with that as well. I'd be okay with either one getting a crack. But would you push someone up to try and do it, or you think? I know we're going to talk about team list soon, but he's made, I think, 2, maybe 3. One change was obvious, but 2 other changes. Would you go? Yeah. Would you not care about how many changes you make and just make them based on that performance?
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. I think that's the performance to do it off, because, and we're about to get into something where we open a can of worms about something that's happened over the last 6 or 12 months and have our say on things. But for mine, and that's what Jason Rolls needs to do now, is he needs to make examples from this. This is now. I'll quickly run through. I got sent a message today on Instagram about a couple of just things that when I read it, I was absolutely shocked. So 4 of the 5 Parramatta losses have been by 13 plus so far this year. 3 of those 20 plus. We've had 50 put on us twice already, and it's been 6 rounds. Parramatta haven't led at any point throughout a match apart from the Saints one where we're up by 2 for a period of time. I think it was like 5, maybe 10 minutes max. And then obviously when Lomax hit the field goal. We haven't been competitive, and he must have sent this before the Raiders or something, I'm not sure, but haven't been competitive in 4 out of 5 matches. I'd probably say now it's 5 out of 6 matches we haven't been competitive for. We've been blown out. Basically, again, 5 out of 6 halftime games by not looking competitive in any. So, I'll buy halftime. So the stats are telling, and this isn't my words. This is from fans. This is what they're watching and seeing. Yeah, as a coach, I know it's early days, but you just can't stand for it anymore. And we stood for it for a few weeks too long, in my opinion, and have 2 50-point hidings already. 6 weeks into it, where if anything, you could argue it's a new coach. Fresh feel, players want. We've seen at other clubs, but at this stage, people are trying their ass off. They want to put their best foot forward, show the coach they're deserving of a spot or want a spot. Yet we've still got some of the same old that we've already named, just doing whatever they feel like, getting spots gifted to them. I don't care if he ends up making 7 changes. Make changes after those sorts of performances. Us, the fan, you'll get so much more respect. And already the TLT, when we talk about it, I've already quickly had a look and read on the official Parramatta site and seen the comments on Facebook and stuff. There is so many people giving credit now because of certain people being dropped and finally listening to us, the fans. That's what it feels like. And that's what he'll get respect for. That's what he needs to do moving forward. It's just, I don't care what the number is. If they're not performing, stop giving him 4, 5, 6 chances. You give him 1 chance. You go, this is what you need to do right. They come out the next week. They don't do it right again. You're gone. Simple.
I fully agree with that. Like, I'm on your side on this. I was just checking in. I was just curious. But yeah, no, I think the only explanation specifically for this Sean Russell one is the only explanation for that must be that there's something he's doing that he's being asked to do. Like he's doing whatever the thing is that Riles is asking him to do. With it, I don't know what that would be necessarily, but it must be something like that. But in terms of the changes, I agree. I think that it needs to be. It can't be like it was with Brad. It can't be, and it can't be at the moment because Riles doesn't. He can't have favorites yet. He's only just gotten there, really. But if it becomes what it was with Brad, where no matter what your performance, no matter how bad you do, no matter how many weeks in a row, you can't get dropped, it just breeds complacency. And I'm so glad, I really am so glad that some players, and we're going to talk about it soon, got dropped. Specifically, Sean Lane, he's the biggest one for me. I'm really, really glad he's gotten dropped because whatever the reason he got brought up and whatever the reason he was being kept in next to Dylan Brown or whatever it was, it wasn't working. It clearly wasn't working. If it's defensive, yeah, he made the most tackles in the Dragons game. Who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. We're still losing those games. And if you're going to take it was 2 weeks in a row, he took 5 runs. He took 5 runs, and I believe he did the same this week. I'm curious. Yeah, here we go. Another 5-run game. 5 runs across this time for him was 65 minutes. So he actually managed to technically run more than he did across 80, or the same amount as he did across 80. Woohoo. I'm so glad he's off.
Yeah. Now, before we get into TLT, we want to dissect, and we said we're going to do this every week, just catch up on a few things, let everyone get our thoughts on. It's obviously been a massive, almost now 12 months with everything that's happened, Brad Arthur sacked, things like that. In your eyes, where has the club got things so wrong? We now sit bottom of the table, a stupid points differential. We've had a heap of points conceded against us. We don't look great. What, in your opinion, that you can pinpoint to over the last 12 or so months, can you go, that is a telling moment where I think the club has gotten it so wrong?
Like, as in can I just clarify, one moment in time, like one thing has happened and that's led into this, or you mean like consistently we're doing the same thing?
Wherever you want to take it. I can go first if you want. So you get a bit of an example.
Yeah, you go first. You hit us off, and then I'll see what I'm thinking after that.
All right. So for mine, obviously the Brad Arthur stuff happened. And it felt like, in a way, once he was gone, he was used as a scapegoat by not just the playing group, but the club in general. I'm going to talk about here. I'm just going to go out and say it. I've said it now, guys. This is what this platform is going to be about. I'm just going to call a spade, and I don't give a shit who doesn't like it or who gets offended. Call me if you need to. And they know who I'm talking about. But for mine, it wasn't just Brad Arthur. Brad Arthur has bosses at the club. Brad Arthur has people he has to answer to make the non-changes, all the changes, to implement things, signings, things like that. It wasn't just all Brad at the time. And I think that was used as the scapegoat and a bit of a cop-out to protect certain people's jobs and roles at the club and things like that. I think the whole club, to be honest with you, needs a huge, huge shake-up. And it makes me feel sick the more and more I think about it, that all that went from that time was Brad Arthur. There was no chairman, there was no CEO, no head of football. No, they all kept their jobs. So Mark, Jim Saratinos, all those, they all kept their jobs. Yet they're the ones that Brad has to answer to with all his decisions and things like that. So how come they all kept their jobs where any other team this would happen to? Majority of the time, I'm going to probably say 85%. If the club goes to complete shit like ours has, someone falls on their sword that is high up and they go, this isn't happening. Look at the Tigers that they lost 2. They lost both of their main guys. And now look how much that club's turning around in a short period of time. The fact that they're still there, it is no surprise to me at the moment. I'm not going to quit. I think Jason Riles is a good coach and has a great idea of what he's going to do. But I'll say this right now. I don't think we're going to achieve anything where we should be achieving with Jason there as coach while we've got those certain people where they are in those positions. Because as a club, it makes me sick to know what we've been going through and how far down we've now slipped. Don't forget, 2022, we played in a grand final. I then in 2023 predicted we'd become the new West Tigers. People laughed at me. People bagged me for it and said, "You're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. Look where we are now." So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm Mr. Know-it-all or anything like that. But what I will say is the writing was clearly on the wall. And if me, a general fan, can see it, how can people that have the suits on and have these big pay packets and things like that, how could they not see it? It doesn't make sense. It just we're supposed to be a powerhouse right now, and we're anything but. Look at the West teams. Penrith just won 4 comps in a row. I'm sick of people trying to compare Penrith and Parra at the moment. Parra fans, wake up to yourself. They've just won 4 competitions. They're on a down year, so be it. You can't be up for 5 years. It's impossible. What have we done? Oh, yeah, we achieved a grand final, so that's good enough for us. We'll get back there in about 5 years. It's all good. No. We have achieved nothing as a club. Yet people sit there and pat themselves on the back, say how good of a job they're doing, and that's the success in their eyes. In my opinion, one of them needs to go. Jim or Mark, I'll call it. One of them, in my opinion, needs to go to make the right decisions happen moving forward. Otherwise, I just think we're going to be moving either extremely, extremely slow or not at all. And it'll just become a battle, coach, board, things like that. And it shouldn't be the case. Jake, what about your eyes?
I'll talk about what you've said first. I'll just have a quick comment on what you've said, and then I'll sort of go where I'm thinking. So I have to agree. We've had the same people on top who have just sort of sunk us into what's the word I'm looking for? I'll just say sunk us into like the depths of where we're at now. They've sat there and nothing's changed. What's that?
It sunk us into Tiger Town.
Yeah, they have. We've gone into Tiger Town. No, it's not even wrong to say that. You're absolutely right. We've been complacent. And I think that's the key with what you're trying to say and where I'm going to go into this for the players. I'm going to go into where the players have been at recently. And even last year. I think we've been complacent as a club because we made that grand final in 2022. And I think what's happened is the people at the top have gone, right, well, that's secured us for a while. We've made it. We've made it to a grand final. We can say we made it to a grand final. We were the people that helped the team take him there and all that. But what have we done since then? And I don't want to go into and repeat what you said. My issue is with the top, but I want to go into where the players are at, right? Yes, we lost a lot of people after that grand final. We lost Reed. We lost Murata Niokore. We lost Isaiah Papali'i. We lost Tom Opacek, I believe, was also lost in that year. We lost more than that. There's 4 at least, right? So we lost a fair few that were in that team that made that grand final. I get that, and that sucks. But every time the Panthers lost 3-4 people, guess what they did? Won another comp. They went and they won another competition after losing who everybody thought was such vital parts of their team. They went through and they did the same thing. We lose a few players, right? And we didn't have the structure in the side of our club to replace them with like-for-like players, right? Whether that comes down to our top people not treating our nursery correctly, in our juniors, whether that comes down to there's a million ways I could take this. What I'm going to go to is the players we had playing for last year and the players we have playing this year. Okay.
Just quickly before you go, I just want one comment on what you said. Just quickly. 100% spot on. And what does my head in even more? Let's bring up Reed, for instance, who absolutely loved the club and didn't want to go originally. And they told him that they couldn't match the figures, and he ended up going.
$450K at the time. That's what it was.
Yeah,
they couldn't match that.
No one stood there and said to Brad, if they're going to blame Brad, which again I've heard a number of times, no one sat there and said to him, your idea about being top heavy in the forwards isn't going to work. And no premiership winning side has won the comp having a top heavy forward pack in the salary cap. Absolutely crazy, because the spine was good enough to be there for another 5 years. And in my opinion, we would have won a comp with Reed still there. We replaced him with Josh Hodgson, and that just failed from the get-go. Everyone knew it was going to fail. And you're just sitting there just going, what? We brought Joey Lussick back, fail, stupid. Put those two together. Surely that's the Reed money there in one player who could clearly do the job already. It just made no sense. But sorry, go on. Sorry, you're on mute. You're on mute, mate.
Sorry, I'll finish off on you said. That was a spine that could have won a comp because it took us to one. It took us to a grand final, and it's a spine that they ripped up for no reason. And then you're right, they tried to replace with experience. They replaced with an old man who was about to retire. But I'm not here to talk about that. What I'm going to talk about here is the attitude. Happened last year, and everyone went, "Oh, Brad's lost the playing group." Oh, Brad this, Brad that, he needs to go. Fair enough. I understand that maybe the stuff he was doing got stale. Maybe everyone was, but the thing is, like, even Reg, a lot of people came out and went, "Oh, no, it's not Brad's fault. It's the playing group. We need to lift up." And then they'd say that and they'd talk all this big talk and then go in the next week and get absolutely pumped. So the same thing was happening. Now that excuse of Brad Arthur is gone. All right, Jason Riles is in, and I'm not blaming Jason Riles here at all. He's just come in, he's getting stuff sorted, and that's fair enough, right? He's going to take time. If we came last this year, all right, I wouldn't want him fired. I'll say that now. We can come last this year, and I still will not want Jason Riles fired. I think he needs a squad around him to implement what he wants. What the players are doing is being lazy, and they're being okay with these performances. And it's been last year as well, where they'll finish around and you'll see they're laughing with the other team after they just got pumped. They just got 50 points put on them. They're laughing. They don't look sad. They don't look angry. They don't look frustrated. They don't care. Okay. And there are players we've brought in who care. You can't look at Zach Lomax and tell me he doesn't care. You can't look at Mitchell Moses. I know he hasn't been playing, but you can't look at Mitchell Moses and say he doesn't care. Isaiah Iongi cares, right? So there are players in there who you look at each week and they give that 100%. Bailey Simonson, even last week, you could see it hurt him that what happened, and he tried his best to dig us out of that tunnel, right? Then you look at a lot of the players, and we've mentioned them a million times, so I'm not going to go into each one, but it's happened last year and this year. I thought last year, to be honest, Reg, everyone's saying, "Oh, how can we drop him and how can we let him go to the Titans and all this?" He didn't look interested last year. I don't think he deserved to get the award that he got of best player last year. He was all right. Not anywhere near the form he's been in the last few years. And I don't think he doesn't care. That's not what I'm saying. But I think the playing group around him, no one is taking ownership of that. Hey, we don't care. Let's turn around and fucking fix it, please. Like, let's turn around and actually rev up. Let's show that we aren't just we're looking like the little brothers of the Panthers. I know that they're not doing great this year, but that doesn't matter. The last 3, 4 years, we've looked like the little brother of a team that we always gave crap of being their big brother to. My biggest frustration with the playing group is that they don't care enough. It doesn't hurt them the way it hurts fans. And us fans are here and we're in this just going like, please, we are begging you to we don't even care if you lose the match. If you are showing that you care and that you're fighting for that win and that you are trying your actual best out there instead of just walking out on the field, getting paid and walking off. That's what we want to see. And over the last 2 years, possibly 3 if you consider 2023. I think we had a lot of off-field incidents with the Brown incident and things like that happening. Yeah, last year we lost Mitchell Moses. Right. Last year, the Storm lost Cameron Munster. The Panthers lost Nathan Cleary. They finished and they made a grand final last year. Their players were out for almost as much as he was, right? That's the thing, is the team around them has to care as much as they do, and they don't. And that they haven't for a long time. And I think that Jason Riles, I'm hoping this is just a prayer, I guess, for me, is that he's basically come in. He's got Brad Arthur's pack, who's gone, right? Brad's gone. We're getting paid. Who cares if we win, lose, or draw? We don't care. And basically, I think that Jason Riles has them. He's stuck with them, bit of deadwood for a while, maybe a year, maybe 2 years. And I think as soon as he gets the opportunity to bring the players across, he's going to want to bring across. He's going to bring across players he knows that want to be there and want to play the system. That's going to make some differences. But until then, nothing will change.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely spot on. And it just filters down again from the club, from the top down. From the top down, it just feels like that level of care factor isn't where it needs to be. It's almost at zero for some people. And that's the frustration. That's the thing that is just having its ooze out of the pores of us fans saying, just show us you care. Give us some vulnerability and show us that you actually care about the club. And you're like, there's a number of players like they'll turn around and go, "Oh, they're under contract, you can't do anything." How many times have we seen other clubs, for instance, shop these guys on? The ones that are underperforming, they go to Super League and that, they shop them on. It happens. They move on. They promote the young guys. Away they go.
Yep.
Why can't we do that? We have a number of forwards. I'd probably say about 5 or 6 right now. That should be happening too. Like, stop just letting it happen and feel it out. Oh, yeah, we'll just play him because we have to. But work the system. Make it happen because other clubs can. And if you can't, you're not the man for the job. You got to leave and you got to get someone in who can do that. Because, again, from the club's point of view, it sort of feels the same because we wanted answers for a number of things throughout the last 6 or 12 months. And it always just feels like it's gone in hiding and is very quiet. They'd rather just get swept under the rug and off they go, release the media pressure, or just speak to the certain media identities that you're friends with or that you like. Give them the side of the story that you know that they'll publish and you want people to hear. Fans know that and they can see right through it now. Like, I'll be 100% honest here, and again, guys, it's just what I'll do. And I had Cameron George, the Warriors CEO, come on, obviously at the start of the year. I'll let you know now. I asked Jim to come on a number of times, who said no to me, and just kept palming it off basically, and just said, "No, the time's not right." And I know it was from the club as well. The time's not right. No, I won't do it. It's because nothing is pre-planned in that situation. They know the questions that will be asked. I won't shy away from it, and they don't want that to be put in front of Jim and in front of the fans. I would only ask the questions that us fans want answers to over the last 12, 18, 24 months that we deservedly should have answers to. Now, I'll give you a background of what Cameron George said to me. Before we even started, I said to him, I go, I'm more than happy if you let me know right now, any questions you don't want to ask, tell me, and I will not ask you. I will not pressure it. I will not even put it out there to the universe. He goes, no, ask me whatever you want. If I feel like it's gone over the edge or it's something that general public shouldn't know, I'll just say to you, gone too far, and he'll just be honest about that. And that's a CEO, in my opinion. That is someone who loves his fans, and I had so much positive feedback from that interview from not just Warriors fans who thanked me galore, but fans in general who said, "What a fantastic man, what a fantastic leader of that club," and the Warriors are clearly going to be going places with him at the helm. And it's 100% spot on. He didn't even need to see the questions beforehand, nothing like that, nothing pre-recorded. He was happy just to come on, show some vulnerability if he needed to, and give fans the answers that they deserve to have answers for. That's the leadership we are craving at the moment from this club that we are not getting.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I think the biggest thing is whenever something big happens, we have Jim come out and he'll sort of say a very clearly pre-organized blurb or whatever he says. He'll say this thing. It doesn't happen very often when he has come out, and it's very clearly like scripted. That's the word I'm looking for. The word I was looking for was scripted.
Yep.
And yeah, I want to see. I would give anything for 15 minutes with like Jim or Jason Riles or anyone off air, on air. I don't care. I'd love to talk to them and just ask questions. I really, really would. But you imagine how much better fans would feel and how much more that they'd respect your club, and they wouldn't be asking as many questions if they had a platform where they could actually ask some questions to these people. And if they didn't want to comment, if Jim, for example, came on and didn't want to comment, right, he just says, I don't want to comment on that. Right, move on, easy, done, sweet. If there's something that you can't comment on, then you go from there. But most of the time, it wouldn't be anything that, is unanswerable. Yeah, we're not seeing leadership up the top. And we saw with the Tigers what happens when you don't see leadership up the top. You see a lack of success.
And I think the players know it, and they know they can get away with stuff perhaps, and they don't have to answer or be accountable in terms of, let's say, for instance, the Josh Addo, and we've got to move on because there is a couple more points, big points that we will almost run out of time for. But just quickly, Josh Addo signing, for instance, I wasn't a big fan of that signing. I'll be honest from the start. I didn't like it. Obviously, with what happened, I wasn't sure if it would buy into our basically what we're trying to build as a club, and I was very cautious about that. But it happened, and then now Josh seems to have really been really brought into the club and been a bit of an asset to the club, to be honest, from what I've noticed and seen, being at the club opening event and stuff, season launch. But I always said, and I thought for the club, they should have had him come out, just early on, have a press conference, answer the questions that's going to be asked. Don't let it just hover over his head, and then move on. But it never wanted that. Like they didn't want to do it that way. They just wanted to sort of just keep it going, and they didn't feel like there was a need to, and just sort of sweeping under the rug in a way. Like I feel like the players are feeding off that in a way, and that care factor that you originally have spoken about just correlates to everything, and they pick up on little things, and that's sort of how it is. So anyway, let's go to the team list for this week. So, so big changes, some big changes for the back line. It is how it was last week, but there is an addition of big Mitchell Moses, the captain, at halfback, replacing. Sorry, I got a mental blank all of a sudden here. Sorry, replacing Dean Hawkins. That's right. I was too fired up. At prop, there's been a change as well. Joel Fahengari looks to have been dropped, and Jack Williams into the side there. Rushed back from injury almost, and back it feels like a bit earlier than we anticipated, which hopefully for both players, they haven't been rushed back and they're fully fit, because I'd hate to see them go down and they're out again for 6 or 7 weeks or whatever. In the back row, Sean Lane is gone, dropped, with Kelma Tuolangi. Yes, he didn't have the greatest games when he was playing. Got dropped after a very poor performance. Hopefully he's gone away, learned from it. He's now been given a second chance to impress in the jersey. Riley Smith starting at hooker and Jermaine Hopgood at lock. Hopefully that stays the same. On the bench, Sam Tuivati is back in the 17 jersey, which is great to see. And that means who's been dropped for? Ryan Madison's been demoted to 18th man to make way. But your man, Luke Moretti, is still there. Charlie Geimer has been dropped as well, with Matt Dury being promoted onto the bench. Quick wrap to you, Jason. You've been listening, obviously, to not just us, but the fans in general. Plenty of changes there that have been asked for a number of weeks now. So we do say a big thank you, because all of a sudden, after a very dour 6 weeks of football, you, as a fan, you go and you feel with a bit of optimism. You feel with a little bit of excitement, which you haven't had yet almost all years. So thank you. Thank you for that. And obviously being quite harsh in what we've said so far this episode, but that sincerely, a big thank you, because they're changes that needed to be made and makes this side look a hell of a lot better already, and still missing someone like Zach Lomax, who, once he comes in, can make this side look even better.
Fully agree with that completely. You look down the list, and I know they've got Will Pennicini in the left center in this, but, the last 2 weeks he's moved to the right, and I'd imagine he'll shift across it again. Don't know why coaches do that, to be honest with you. And a lot of coaches do it. I don't know why coaches do the whole, we're playing him over here, but then they do it that last minute switch right at the end. It's like, everyone knows it. Just put him in the spot so we can have his jersey on. Anyway, Mitchell Moses being back, massive, so exciting. Please tell me, we had a buy round after this. I can't say that I feel, look, if he's playing, medical staff have cleared him, right? I know he was itching to get back on the field, and I bet you he was. I bet you he was absolutely freaking out trying to get back on that field. I almost just go, why didn't we give him the extra week? We've got the buy round after this. And I know, a lot of people have that whole idea, well, if it got cleared by medical, then fair enough, right? But it just feels like, why rush? If there's only one more week to go, we get that buy round after. And then it can be almost like, hey, clean slate. We've got Mitch back. We've got Williams back. Because also, I don't think Williams was supposed to be back yet either, as far as I'm aware. I felt like his injury was only 3 weeks ago, and they said it was going to be a 6-week return. Other than that, it was really, really good to see Matt Dury back in the side, as well as Tuivati, to be honest with you. But Matt Dury hasn't done much wrong since he's been in our first grade sort of games this year. I actually don't think he's done too much wrong. I'd like to see him get a bit of a crack. The only one, I really like to see Jack Williams in that prop role, because I know that the whole reason we sort of signed him, and he was real open with it when they did the interview with him earlier in the year. He sort of said, they've signed me for my leg speed. They've signed me so that we have that sort of smaller, more mobile sort of pack. And it's good to see him just get that straight start. And it makes the most sense. It really does, because Joel Fahengari has not provided anything to us this year. He had one good game, and I think it was his 200th, or maybe it was the week before that. He had one good game. It's not good enough. Good to see, Jack Williams get a crack. I just hope he doesn't get injured again, please. And Dylan Walker. Even last week, I thought he was a little bit more quiet than the first week back, but I still don't think he did necessarily a bad job. I'm still keen for that. Other than that, I'm really happy with it. Yeah, I'm really, really happy with the changes he's made. And I actually think I had a question for you. Jordan Samrani, because he's in our extended bench, but I was under the impression he was unable to play for us because he wasn't in our top 30. Did he get upgraded?
I don't believe so. Not at the moment. If anything, I don't think he has been, because if he had been upgraded, I would have him at wing and Bailey Simons into the center. And
which is why I'm confused as to why he is allowed on our extended bench, because
I'm not
the whole point of it. Yeah, so I'm not sure about that one. So I'd have to look into sort of the go there, because I absolutely agree. I definitely would put him over onto the wing with Simonson into that center. That'd be incredible. But the extras we've got is Brendan Hands. He won't go in. Dean Hawkins will be there for if Moses goes down. Ryan Madison might be a late inclusion, but I doubt it. I really don't think anyone needs to swap for him personally. And then Joe Ashfapali has sort of been in that list that whole time. But I'm really happy with this list. I'm probably the most happy with this list that I have been of anyone so far. There's still some changes I think I would potentially make, but I'm willing to see how it goes for sure.
Let's discuss the big rumor, obviously, that's floating around. Lachlan Galvin will not be at the West Tigers after next season, 2026. So 2027, he'll be at a new club. The way this is quickly unraveling for both Cairns, the Tigers, and Lachlan Galvin, I will be shocked if he's there for almost by the end of the year. Like, if this isn't starting to reek of an early release, I'm not here. But even so, let's just speak in general. Let's just say, okay, somehow they overcome this. He's there at that club and he's available 2027. Parramatta apparently listened to a lot of people, and the rumors are we're pretty much favourite for his signature. He's got a relationship with Mitchell Moses. Obviously, the manager, Isaac Moses, is his manager, and a relation to Mitch as well. It pairs up with no Brown anymore from next year. Do you want Galvin at the club? You happy with this? What are your thoughts?
I'll put it this way. As a talent in this game, in rugby league, he's got it, right? He's developing it very quickly, if not has already got very high class abilities. In terms of effort, when he's on the field, you love to see it. He puts in effort. He wants to win games. Love to see that. I don't love that Isaac Moses is his manager. I don't love that Isaac Moses is Mitch Moses' manager either, and that both of our halves would be controlled by Isaac Moses for the next however many years that is. Would I sign Lachlan Galvin? Yes, I would. I absolutely would. Would I sign him for $1 million a season? No, I absolutely would not. I do not believe he's worth $1 million a season. He didn't, like last year, he wasn't able to take his team from last place. They still came last. Yes, he's a talent. Yes, he can put points on the board and he can defend and he can do everything he can. He hasn't shown enough to say that he's worth $1 million a season, in my opinion. The only reason that figure has even come up is because of Dylan Brown and what happened with him in the Knights. Not every 5/8 in the game should get that. Dylan Brown shouldn't even get that. That's not something that he deserves to get as a price point, but I'm not going to go into that. Lachlan Galvin, I would sign him, I reckon, 800K, maybe 900K would be my absolute maximum. I would absolutely not go past that. Do I think he could help us win football games next year? Yes, I do. Him, Mitchell Moses would be an incredible combination. Iongi at the back would be really nice. Riley Smith in hooker. It's a good spine. It's a really nice spine, and I think that's a spine that cares and wants to win games, and that would help you to win games. I'll stick it at this. Yes, I would sign him, not for $1 million. I'll go where you go from there.
Yeah, I think the obviously that money is crazy for a guy that's been around for a year now. I'm more and more cautious about this now. Originally, I was all for it, and to be honest with you, I was so excited. But the more I think about it, the more I spend time driving home and having thoughts in my head, which, guys, you don't want to be part of those thoughts. I just don't stop going with the Eels. And bloody NRL and everything, talking points, what I can do for the page, everything. So it just doesn't stop. But I hate the Isaac Moses connection. It wasn't like, and this is what I find, first of all, I'll address this. This is what I find so funny here is that Parramatta fans, it wasn't that long ago, they were almost screaming at the club saying, stop dealing with Isaac Moses. Just push him away. See you later. It's just drama or drama. Don't want it. It's so funny now that all of a sudden a hot talent that he manages is around and everyone just screams, sign Galvin, sign Galvin. Sorry, what one do you want, fans? What one is it? Like, I get he's a talent, but let's look at what's happened so far. He's played in the NRL for a year and a bit now. He's already had 3 or 4 moments where he's basically told the Tigers, instead of saying, thank you for giving me an opportunity, I want out of the club and I demand it, and has run it through the media every single time. Do we want that again as a club? It seems like we've just gotten away from being in the media 24/7 with everything that happens at the club and being involved. Let's not forget, like Mitchell Moses' contract has never been plain sailing either. It's always been sort of issues and stuff like that. I just get more and more cautious that I think Galvin is going to be one of the best 5'8" in the game by, if not already, at least the next year or two, for sure. Top 3 5'8" in the game. It's just sometimes you got to balance up because even when let's say he signs and he's here, can we even promise that he'll be here for the duration of, let's say he signs a 5-year contract, that we won't get murmurs after 2 years if something doesn't happen? He's arguing that, and it's probably something we'll more go into tonight, and that you guys won't know this, but you'll obviously, it's sort of been done on our live show, but he's whinging about Benji Marshall not being the right coach for him. Benji Marshall was one of the best 5'8" to ever play the game. Now, if you're trying to tell me he's not the best coach for you, who's to say Jason Roll's a prop? Yes, been in some great systems, but early days, if we're just going to be blunt, hasn't been fantastic, let's say, that this coaching style hasn't suited the Eels so far. But who's just like, how can you all of a sudden put every egg in your basket and go, yeah, Eels are the club I want to go to? Like, obviously, being with Moses, that's probably straight away one of the best halves pairings in the game. Or once again, like Galvin and Moses, huge. It just seems like there's a bit of noise around him, and I just don't know if, as a club, we're at the stage where we want that and should be entertaining that. Again, down the track, who knows? Maybe he just needs to get away from the Tigers. That's his issue. And once he's left there, he comes back to his childhood club. He obviously went for the Eels his whole life, loves the club. Maybe that'll change once he gets to live out his dream. But after that dream, if let's say a year into it, we're struggling still, things aren't looking great. Moses has been out for another 6 weeks or 2-3 months, and he's been pressured to have, because once again, he'll be pressured to run the team like Dylan Brown has had. Probably a bit better at doing that, in my opinion, from what I've seen so far. He looks like a bit more of he's happy to run the team and wants that big dog status in a way. I'm so on the fence at the moment, Jake. Like, I'd love to come on here and say I want him, but the more and more I look into it, the think about things leans me more to then balance up things is all.
Yeah. Oh, look, the scariest thing about it is the Isaac Moses side of things, and we know what he's done to our club, and he's definitely never made it easy for us. If the news came out tomorrow that we'd signed Lachlan Galvin on a 4-year, 5-year contract at $900,000 a season, right, I'm happy. I'm okay with it. Like, I'm not sitting here going, oh, damn, like, I didn't want this to happen, all that. I'd sit here and go, sweet, right, we've got a young up-and-coming talent who's already a very high-quality player. He's paired up with one of the best halfbacks in the world right now in Mitchell Moses. I say that having known he hasn't played a game in forever, but anyway. It's strong, right? It's strong, and it would develop over the next 2 or 3 years, and that would put us. You'd think you'd have a spine that would be worthy of potentially a grand final in 2 or 3 years, right? You'd have him in the frame, in my opinion. So, yes, I'd sit there and go, I'm happy getting Lachlan Galvin. As a player, oh man, I want him so. Like, if there was no Isaac Moses inclusion part of this, I'd sit there and go, yeah, sweet, get him across. Mate, he loves the club. Get him across. Just don't give him everything. Don't sit there and go, we're going to build the team around you. Don't sit there and go, this is what it is. It's you're coming to the Parramatta Eels. It sort of should be, and that's what our club should be. It's not what it has been recently. It should be a privilege to get to come and play for the Parramatta Eels. But at the moment, it feels like it's I'll go there if you can give me enough money to go there. So I'm hoping he didn't even really look at the Tigers offer. And apparently I've read this thing where basically his management went, don't even bother giving us an extension offer because we're not going to take it. And I think that's where the club's basically gone, right, well, stuff you then. You're not going to be playing in our team. You can sit in reserve grade for the next year and a half if you really need to. At the same time, he's taking up salary cap. He's not going to sit there for another year and a half because the Tigers would be doing bad management if they did that, right?
Second part to this for you.
Yeah.
Would you release Dylan Brown right now if it meant we would sign Lachlan Galvin instantly?
Yep. Yeah, I would. 100% I would. Because I don't believe that Mitchell Moses coming back is going to unlock Dylan Brown again all of a sudden. I don't think that Dylan Brown's going to all of a sudden care about winning the comp this season because that's not going to happen. So I think that, to be honest with you, I'd start building up that relationship with him and Galvin immediately, like Moses and Galvin immediately. Start that this year so that next year when we do hopefully get some new players in or, some fresh signings and whatever we do, they're ready to go. They're good. They're ready to jump straight into it. I would take him straight away.
What's the max value? What's the max you value Galvin at currently? Let's say we went to the negotiation table and we give him a 5-year deal. What would you be giving him?
I could argue for 900,000. I'd be okay with that. I understand he's a young talent, but at the same time, he can win. He's the competitiveness he's got, the skill he's got. I would happily give him, not happily. I could argue with giving him 900,000. I think he's crazy to turn down $1 million a season for 5 seasons. I really do. He hasn't done anything in the game yet. Well, yeah, I get that, but he hasn't done anything in the game yet. He has not done anything in the game to justify $1 million a season. And if any other club is throwing that at him, they're crazy. I really understand how talented he is. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, until he's doing that consistently with a team around him and winning games and putting himself into that sort of frame, he's not worth $1 million a season.
Yeah. No,
900.
I agree. I do agree. Well, I think $1 million is way too much. It's almost in a way, I know it probably wouldn't happen, but I'd sort of build in a way. I'd go, look, we'll get you for 700 to start with. And then as we build into it, say by year 3, you go up to 950. Yeah. By year 5, if we're going to re-sign you, we then go up to the $1 million. Like I just keep remembering how young he is. And I just would love him to come to the club for the right reasons, not just money-wise, and to actually genuinely want to build a brilliant halves combo with Mitchell Moses and the spine and build into a premiership. Because if we can land him and he's in the right frame of mind, huge asset, and I can see us doing amazing things with him because Moses, obviously, in my opinion, is a premiership winning half. You then add a Galvin into the mix who's going to be a freak for sure. You start, and Eiling's shown so far early signs without Moses, etc., that he's doing a very good job with what he's got around him at the moment, which I do feel for him a bit. Once he's got some more attacking weapons around him, I think he'll go into a much better position. But, yeah, if we get him, I hope we get him, and it's for the right reasons. Interested to see what happens and the time frame of him.
I have a feeling, if I'm going to say this, I have a feeling we will get him. That's what's in my gut. My gut feeling is he wants to come back to Parramatta, and that we basically will make that happen.
Okay. Hope we don't overpay. I just hope we don't.
That's all I want. That's all.
Like management at the moment will know that there's some people around. Obviously, we've been the same, heaping pressure on them once again, and they will want this sort of price signing to go, you know what, we've got something, and I'm afraid that they might have to overspend to get that done and get it done quickly once Galvin's obviously allowed to communicate. But that's it, guys. That is it. Second episode. I hope you appreciate how open, raw, and honest we have been with this podcast. We said we would always do it, and that is how we will do it. But yeah, look, let us know in the comments your thoughts. Obviously, there's a lot of big talking points. Vent, do whatever you need to do. Let us know your thoughts. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. Like and subscribe all the social media you can see below if you are watching. If not, hit that follow button on your podcast and things like that as well. Any businesses out there, we are still looking for a sponsor for this podcast. So make sure you please message the page if you are interested for the rest of the year. But apart from that, Jake, we'll go and tuck into some tucker and get ready for our live show, which has already been done by now. So, but yeah, good night, good day, whatever it is. Good luck for your day ahead at work. Yeah, go Parra for the weekend. Go Parra. Go Galvin.